Hey everybody, it's Yoli Medina, and I just wanted to share my experience. I was in Maine. It's Raymond, Maine, and there's an island in Maine called Fry Island and Sebago Lake. And I was on vacation there from July 11th to July 18th. And when I arrived there, I received a text of a YouTube channel, and it was talking about a suspicious unaliving woman in the area where I was staying. So when I landed, I got this video, and as I was waiting to get my luggage, I was looking at the video, and I thought, oh boy, this is going to be crazy. And when I started looking more into it, it seemed that they were the mainstream media and court TV, and there was one police off the cuff that I was watching. They seemed to think that possibly it was a serial unaliver that has been unaliving females in the New England area. Well, I didn't make a big deal out of it, and the people who I was with, who are my godsons, and their wives, and my husband, and a couple of other people that stayed with us that are relatives of my godsons. And we rented a big Airbnb. I have trouble saying that. And this time, though, it wasn't on the island, on Fry Island. It was off the island, which was a little bit scarier because the unaliving happened off the island. And it was at a Micmac, I think it's called Micmac Family Campground, which was about 90 minutes away from where we were staying in Raymond, Maine. And so this was in Union, Maine, where they found this woman unalived under suspicious circumstances. And they didn't want to say any more about how she was found. It was very secretive. They were saying basically they were unsure as to whether it was a targeted attack or not. And it was kind of creepy. So just to give you an idea of what it looks like, this is what I'm going to show you some photographs that I took. Let me just. So this is in the area where we were staying. They have like paddle boards and everything out here. And let me show you another one. There's like little trails you can go through. They're not really trails, but they're little pathways. And normally, when we're staying on Fry Island, this was the first time I stayed off the island, I would go for walks, alone. And the island is it's not that big, so everybody there is there for camp for summer reasons. They're on vacation, and a ferry takes you across to the island, to Fry Island. So let me show you this. Okay, so this was the back patio area, and it was kind of strange because if I went out, to sit outside, my back was to the wooded area. So it's kind of not very relaxing for me anyway. So, okay, then let me show you okay, so that's another part of the yard where we were staying. And then let me show you this one. And this is people paddle boarding. And that was the dock. And they had a canoe, they had kayaks. And I didn't even go in the water. The water looked kind of icky. And I don't know if it looked icky because I was thinking that there was some kind of serial unaliver there, or whether it just looked icky because it was in a different area. The water was more stagnant. There was bugs, so I had to put bug spray. But here was the hammock, and I did not get into the hammock, partly because Well, partly because I couldn't relax. Although I appeared relaxed, I really wasn't. Um, and then here we go. That's another area. And this is what it looked like. This is what it looks like over where this lady, her name is Sunshine Stewart, was unalived. And that's another area there. So in any event, my vacation was not very relaxing. And throughout that whole week, they hadn't made an arrest. And I was following the case while I was there. And on the 17th, now I left on the 18th in the morning, but on the 17th, there was an arrest made just as I was leaving. And it was a 17-year-old. And I was watching coverage of it, and they released his name to mainstream media. Now, I'm not going to say his name because he's still a minor. He's 17. And they got a hold of his Facebook pictures, and he's a big guy. He does not look 17. So Sunshine Stewart was staying at this campground alone because it's safe. It's one of the places where you can go and be alone. I mean, people kayak alone. It is a very safe place. And for this to have happened was kind of a shock. And so she was paddleboarding by herself around 6 o'clock. I think it was July 2nd. And one of her, I guess she didn't come back to the campground, and somebody reported that she hadn't come back. And when they went to go search for her, they found her at the shore of Crawford Pond. And she was, they didn't want to say how she was unalived. But after they arrested the individual, the 17-year-old, they said that they had made an arrest, and it was a 17-year-old, and that this person confessed. And there was DNA on the body, foreign DNA. They didn't say what kind. And if she was found on the shore, so I don't know where they found it or how they found it, but they were allegedly, this is what I understand from hearing various podcasts and mainstream media, they were swabbing people's cheeks for DNA at the campsite. So as you can imagine, that's not a good feeling for the campers there. I mean, if I was 90 minutes away and I was a little nervous, imagine the people at the campground. And so he was arrested, and apparently he confessed, and he had a hearing, and they were deciding whether to try him as an adult. He sure looks like an adult. And the latest episode that I watched of Police Off the Cuff, that show was covering a lot of what was going on. And the latest episode of that podcast, which I will put the link in the description box, they were discussing about this confession and whether or not how this confession came about, and that might be an issue because apparently this individual is mentally challenged as well, and has a history of being a bully. And I think they said that this individual, the 17-year-old, was had a history at that campground, and were actually kicked out at one point. Now, I don't know. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I heard. So now they're in this podcast, they're talking about civil liability for the owner of the campground. Now, I don't know enough to say whether there could be a case against the campground, and plus I don't know the law in Maine, so I wouldn't even begin to speculate. But it was a very interesting vacation. So now I'm back, have to work, catch up, and do videos on the Kohberger saga. And if you're not familiar with the Kohberger case, it's the Brian Kohberger case. It's Idaho versus Kohberger. And he just pleaded guilty a couple weeks ago to unaliving 4 students at the University of Idaho. And I'll be doing some videos on that, some interesting events that occurred. But in any event, that was my vacation. And it was just ironic that they caught him the day before I was leaving. Anyway, that's my story. Just want to share it.